joining us later. The time is now 12:02, and I will call the meeting for November 4th, 2021, meeting of the District of Columbia Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to order. I'm Norma Hutcheson, the BEGA Chairperson, and due to COVID-19, this meeting is being held virtually by WebEx. Joining me today are board members Charles Nottingham, Melissa Tucker, and Darrin Sobin. If Felice Smith joins later, I'll take note of her appearance. But together we constitute a quorum for the meeting. So I guess we would start by adopting the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, any opposition? Okay, hearing none, the agenda for today's meeting has been adopted. And before us today are the minutes from the October 7th. There's draft minutes. And is there a motion to approve the minutes as drafted?
I'll offer the motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Hearing none, the board approves the October 7th, 2021 meeting minutes. So we'll get started first with a report from the Office of Open Government. Director Niquelle Allen is appearing by WebEx, and she'll present a report on behalf of the Office of Open Government. Ms. Allen, please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I am Niquelle Allen, Director of Open Government, and I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government, or OOG. Since the last board mission, OOG has continued to fulfill its mission of ensuring that all persons receive full and complete information regarding the affairs of the district government and the actions of those who represent them. I'll start with Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act advice rendered by the office. The first is advisory opinion. On November 2nd, 2021, I issued advisory opinion number OOG-000.10-.18-.21AO concerning whether the personal privacy exemption under DC Foia would apply to the request for transcripts of 2 University of the District of Columbia faculty members. My review of DC Foia, Foia case law, and Mayor's Foia appeals led me to conclude the following. 1, that the privacy interests an employee maintains in their personnel files, including transcripts and documents reflecting their age, are not outweighed by the public interest in disclosure of the information. And 2, that the University of District of Columbia may lawfully withhold the documents pursuant to Exemption 2, DC Foia's personal privacy exemption. For your review, a copy of the advisory opinion is in the Dropbox. The second item is formal Foia advice. The statutory exemption under DC Foia to toll the processing of Foia requests due to COVID-19 expired on October 27, 2021. Since BEGA processed some of its requests under the tolling provision, the agency will respond to all Foia requests tolled due to BEGA's closed facilities 45 business days after October 27th or on or before January 4th, 2022. BEGA provided Foia requesters with correspondence advising them of the rules modifying Foia requests if it was applicable to that Foia request. Informal Open Meetings Act and Foia advice rendered by the office. Since the last board meeting, the Office of Open Government responded informally via email or telephone to requests for assistance as follows. The office responded to 15 requests for Open Meetings Act advice. The office responded to 22 requests for Foia advice, and the office responded to 28 requests for technical assistance with the website open-dc.gov. The next item is training and outreach. The first item is Ethics Week, Reapproaching Ethical Values. BEGA hosted Ethics Week from October 18th to 22nd, 2021, as you know. BEGA offered a series of webinars and virtual presentations that provided DC government employees with information on ethics, the Freedom of Information Act, parliamentary procedure, and the Open Meetings Act. The Office of Open Government made several presentations on Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. OOG's Ethics Week presentations were as follows. Attorney Orji presented Let the Sunshine In, Understanding DC's 3 Transparency Laws that Create a More Transparent DC Government. This webinar presented a historical overview of the DC Sunshine Laws from inception to the present. The webinar gave participants a full context for DC's transparency laws. Chief Counsel Barton presented Best Practices for the Open Meetings Act Compliance. In this webinar, participants learned about the Open Meetings Act and were provided with scenarios and examples of how to resolve real issues that arise in public meetings. I presented Unveiling the Office of Open Government's New Offerings. The presentation began with a general introduction from me regarding the new developments in the Office of Open Government, then proceeded with a video presentation from Susan Leahy introducing the Parliamentary Procedure Training Portal and instructing participants on how to access and use the portal. The presentation concluded with our new Open Meetings Act training video produced by the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment, which is featured on our website and YouTube channel. Attorney Weil presented Parliamentary Efficiency, You Can Make Your Meetings Shorter. This webinar focused on the uses of elements of parliamentary procedure to make meetings more efficient and less intimidating. He touched on the basic rules and offered practical tips for making effective public meetings. Attorney DeBerry presented Foia 101, The Path That Leads to Openness and Accountability. This webinar instructed on the basics of DC Foia and was a refresher course for DC Foia officers on the rules that apply to processing requests. And IT specialist Kevon Bridges presented How to Compose and Upload Video Recordings to open-dc.gov. This webinar offered practical tips for using tools such as WebEx and YouTube to record and publish meeting records, and recordings. He also provided instruction for administrative points of contact for boards and commissions on how to post information on the central meeting calendar. The OOG staff and I participated in all the webinars that were offered during Ethics Week, which included the following training sessions: Ethics Updates, Ask BEGA, Ethics and Yoga, Unlocking the Positive Value of Ethics, Intersection of Ethics and Donations, Ethical Pitfalls in a Remote World, and Legal Ethics for Government Attorneys. The next item is mandatory cybersecurity training. Attorney Weil and I attended the DC government mandatory cybersecurity training during the month of October. This year's scenario-based training course is designed to help identify and avoid some of the most common threats of cyber incidents. The next item is public speaking training. On October 7th, 2021, Attorney Orji attended Michelle Brockhoff-Bajek's training on public speaking from A to D. The training was hosted by the District of Columbia Department of Human Resources. Cybersecurity webinar. On October 15th, 2021, Attorney DeBerry attended the National Attorneys General Training and Research Institute of the National Attorney General's Training on Cybersecurity. The training focused on understanding cyber crimes, computers, and cybersecurity. Legal drafting course. On October 18th, 2021, Attorney Orji attended the legal drafting course hosted by the Maryland State Bar Association. The course was called Opinion Letters, Nuts and Bolts, and it was a course on how to draft third-party opinion letters addressed to non-clients. While the course was geared towards transactional law, the information can be applied to drafting advisory opinions. The training covered a general overview on how to structure the opinion letter. The course emphasized more structural guidance and underscored some helpful tips for writers. The next item is litigation and legislative updates. Litigation. OOG is monitoring FOIA-related cases in DC Superior Court, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the DC Circuit, the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, and nationwide. The agency is not a party to any of these lawsuits I'm reporting on. I am providing this information for the board's awareness of litigation that may impact the operation and interpretation of DC Foia laws. The first case is TPM lawsuit regarding preliminary budget requests. As you may recall, on July 13, 2020, TPM sued the district under DC Foia, alleging that the district failed to produce and post online various budget-related documents related to public schools. I have no further events to report at this time since the last meeting. The case remains in the briefing stages at the DC Court of Appeals. The next case is the ACLU case, which regards stop and frisk. On February 16, 2021, ACLU of DC sued the District of Columbia seeking records concerning stop and frisk by NPD. On October 22nd, 2021, two parties agreed that all of the plaintiff's claims have been resolved and stipulated to a dismissal of the case with prejudice. The stipulation of dismissal is uploaded in the Dropbox. Judicial Watch lawsuit regarding autopsy records. On March 19, 2021, the plaintiff, Judicial Watch, filed a lawsuit under DC Foia, appealing the denial of plaintiff's two Foia requests by the DC Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. On October 22, 2021, in response to a consent motion for extension and continuance to give OCME more time to produce non-exempt records in a bond index, the Superior Court granted the motion. The court also ordered that OCME answer the plaintiff's amended complaint on or before November 5, 2021. The scheduling conference is now set for December 10, 2021 at 9 a.m. The order is uploaded to Dropbox, and the office will continue to monitor these matters. DC Council legislation. The first item is Bill 24-384, the Post-Public Health Emergency Protections Extension Emergency Amendment Act of 2021, was signed on by the mayor on October 25, 2021 as Act 24-0384 and expires on January 23, 2022. The measure continues amendments to the Open Meetings Act previously enacted due to the public health emergency. They are now in effect from March 11, 2020 through December 31, 2022. Under the law, a meeting continues to be deemed open to the public when the public body takes steps reasonably calculated to allow the public to view or hear the meeting while the meeting is taking place, or if doing so is not technologically feasible, as soon thereafter reasonably practicable, and two, the OMA physical posting of public meeting notices requirement is waived. During its November 2nd, 2021 legislative session, the Council approved on first reading Bill 24-385, the Post-Public Health Emergency Protections Extension Temporary Amendment Act of 2021. I note that the Open Government Coalition, I'll refer to as Coalition, expressed concerns that there was no discussion or rationale for an emergency measure, and the emergency measure prevents in-person meetings. On October 19th, I, along with Chief Counsel Barton, had a teleconference with Coalition member Fitzmolhauser and addressed the Coalition's concerns. I'll note this is slightly different, I believe, from the notes that you all may have. And we had a discussion with him regarding the bills on behalf of the Coalition. And in discussing the matter, Councilmember Che stated the measure was the result of concerns of the public body members that they would no longer be allowed to meet virtually, so there was both discussions and rationale for enacting the act, and that the act provides an option for meeting remotely but does not require all meetings be held remotely. Additionally, we provided the Coalition with details concerning OOG's legal staff monitoring of remote meetings and offered that the OOG's legal staff has found the process of remote meetings to work extraordinarily well. The next item is the Metropolitan Police Department's body-worn camera report. On October 5th, 2021, pursuant to Section 3004 of the Body-Worn Camera Regulation Requirements Act of 2015, The Metropolitan Police Department submitted to the DC Council its biannual report on the body-worn camera program. The report provided data from the July 1st, 2020 through December 21st, 2020 on items such as 1, how many hours of body-worn camera recordings were collected, 2, how many Freedom of Information Act requests MPD received for body-worn camera recordings, the outcome of each request, and 3, how many times body-worn cameras failed while officers were on shifts and the reasons for the failures. For your review, a copy of the report is in Dropbox. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate these litigation and legislative updates. They are very helpful to us. I think I can speak for the other board members on this too, because we don't have the opportunity, I think, to track these things on an ongoing basis. So when you report these things to us every month, I think it's wonderful, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the comment, and we appreciate the feedback as well. And the last item on my report are administrative matters, and the first item here are the Office of Open Government employee evaluations for fiscal year 21. We completed this process on November 1st. Chief Counsel Barton and I provided feedback on the Office of Open Government's legal staff's performance during the week of October 23rd, and Acting Director Cooks assisted us with providing feedback on the IT specialist performance on November 1st. And we have commenced the process of creating the fiscal year 2022 performance criteria, which will be completed on November 17th, 2021. The last item is the fiscal year 23 budget submission. BEGA is working on its fiscal year 23 budget submission, which is due to the Executive Office of the Mayor on Friday, November 5th. The primary budget enhancement request BEGA is seeking is for the relocation to a leased office facility. This request, this go-round, is supported and authorized by the city administrator, and we are working with the Department of General Services, as you know, so we anticipate approval. This concludes the Office of Open Government's November 2021 report.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Are there any other questions or comments for Ms. Allen? Okay. Next, also via WebEx, we'll hear from Ashley Cooks, who is the Acting Director of the Office of Government Ethics. Ms. Cooks, please proceed, Director Cooks.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I'm Ashley Cooks, the Acting Director of Government Ethics. I'm pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE. Update on the status of OGE operations. The information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur as a result of actions taken by the board today. For open investigations by status, we have a total of 66 open matters. For undocketed matters, we have a grand total of 8. Pending state investigations by status. For closed pending collection, we have 26 matters. We have 1 matter that is closed pending a DC Superior Court case. 4 matters that are stayed for OAG False Claims Act cases. 8 matters that are stayed for OIG investigations. And 2 matters that are stayed for a U.S. District Court case for a grand total of 41. Regulatory matters by status, we have 24 matters that are closed pending collection, 3 open regulatory matters for a total of, 27 matters. We currently have 66 open investigations and 14 stayed matters. Last month, we had 59 open investigations and 13 stayed matters. In September, we had 57 open investigations and 14 stayed investigations. The number of open preliminary and formal investigations includes 14 new matters open since the last board meeting. The investigative team resolved 9 preliminary investigations since the last board meeting. Next is training and outreach. Professional development training attended by staff. Attorney Maurice Eccles completed Intro to DC Government Contracting, and Administrative Officer Tyrell Dow completed Effective Statements of Work training. Auditor Emmanuel Tajuba completed the following trainings: Gaining a Positive Perspective on Feedback, The Art and Science of Communication, Effective Team Communication, The Building Blocks of Building Trust, and Encouraging Team Communication and Collaboration. Conducted by staff during the week of Monday, October 18th, 2021 through Friday, October 22nd, 2021, OGE hosted BEGA's annual ethics week. This year's theme was Reapproaching Ethical Values, in which we provided information to employees on the importance of reapproaching ethical compliance in a returning work environment. As Director Allen has mentioned, Wednesday, October 20th was dedicated solely to OOG trainings. All of the event sessions were well attended and we received positive feedback. Some of the most well-attended sessions were Unlocking the Positive Value of Ethics with Marcy Maslow. It had 235 attendees. Foia 101, 197 attendees. Ethics Pitfalls in a Remote World, Ethics Counselor Panel, 177 attendees. The Intersection of Donation and Ethics, 160 attendees. Refocusing on Ethics, Legal Ethics for Government Attorneys, 111 attendees. And Let the Sun Shine In, Understanding DC's three transparency laws, 109 attendees. A copy of the final schedule was uploaded to the Dropbox for your review. I would like to attend Supervisory Attorney Stuart Mitchell for coordinating the event. Since the last board meeting, OGE attorneys conducted one ethics training aside from Ethics Week, which was the monthly ethics training. We did not host a virtual brown bag for October in preparation for Ethics Week. However, we intend to have 2 sessions before the year ends to address popular seasonal topics such as the Local Hatch Act and rules regarding gifts. 51 employees completed our online ethics training via PeopleSoft.
Director, if I can interrupt you for just a moment, I just want to give a shout out because when I think about where we started with an ethics day and now we're into an ethics week, and just from my own perspective as, you know, the titular head of this continuing legal education department at the DC Bar, these numbers are staggering. We would consider 235 attendees in any of our sessions, and we have 111,000 members. We would consider 235 to be a remarkably successful event. And you had those numbers consistently, it looks like, all week. So congratulations. I think it's the content that is driving this attendance, because I attended at least one of the sessions and I thought it was really outstanding. So you guys are really cranking this stuff. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Next is the learning management system. OGE is putting the final touches on its ethics learning management system, LMS. The LMS will serve as the central online location for OGE's ethics training resources and materials, and will provide data analytics, course completion, and tracking information. OGE will make the LMS available to a select number of ethics counselors before allowing employees to access the site. Miss Ethics videos. OGE filmed and recorded 2 new Miss Ethics videos with Pendragon Productions in September. Pendragon created the original Miss Ethics videos and the video and the subsequent Ask Miss Ethics videos. The new videos focus on financial disclosure statement issues and how and when to report ethics violations. The links to those videos are posted in a Dropbox for your review. Next is advisory opinions and advice. First, informal advice. OGE's legal staff provided advice for approximately 30 ethics inquiries, which is 17 less than the 47 reported at the October meeting. I assume the difference is due to the number of questions that we answered during Ethics Week, specifically during the Ask BEGA session. This number does not include responses we have provided to questions regarding the Lobbyist and FDSE filing systems. OGE has not drafted any advisory opinions since the last board meeting. Legislation updates. On October 27, 2021, the Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety held a virtual public hearing on the Pro Bono Legal Representation Expansion Amendment Act of 2021, Bill 24-0298. The bill is an amendment to Section 223 of the Ethics Act, which will allow employees to represent persons of limited income in affiliation with a nonprofit organization before district courts and federal courts and district and federal agencies. I submitted testimony in support of the bill. A copy of my testimony and the proposed bill were placed in the Dropbox for your review. Next is OGE administrative matters. OGE staffing. We advertised the vacancy announcement for an attorney advisor through October 20th, and we'll begin interviewing applicants in the next couple of weeks. I am happy to announce that Tyrell Dow, formerly BEGA's Program Support Assistant, was selected as the new administrative officer. Prior to his selection, Mr. Dow successfully conducted many of the duties and responsibilities of the administrative officer position, such as management of the the agency's procurement practices, human resource matters, and compliance with the certified business entity requirement. Congratulations, Tyrell. Next is relocation in new office space. Both OOG and OGE continue to work with the Department of General Services, DGS, in pursuit of sufficient office space. On October 13th, we visited 4 commercial properties which offered potential office space suitable for BEGA's growing staff. Next week, we plan to meet with an architect to explore options for developing our top 3 choices. Next is financial disclosure statement, FDS. For enforcement, the FDS team has produced a list of public filers and confidential filers who did not meet the deadline or who have not filed despite receiving all the notices and reminders. The lists were provided to the Office of Pay and Retirement, OPRS, for automatic payroll deduction of fines. On October 15th, OGE notified council members that their fall 2021 financial disclosure is due by November 15th. Council members, chiefs of staff were also notified. This is the first year that the council will use the e-file system to file their FDS. Reminders are scheduled for November 5th, November 12th, and if necessary, November 15th. 3 FDS waiver requests were submitted, and we'll talk about those in the executive session. Fines from late and non-filing wage garnishment were collected from 32 employees for a total of $9,136 this month. And lastly, the FDS team has been working on standard operating procedure, a financial disclosure and enforcement manual. And lastly is FDS Lobbyist Registration and Reporting, LOR. After sending 582 notices to registered active points of contact, OGE received 57 total registrations in the e-file system. This breaks down to 16 new, 6 renewals, and 35 terminations. These 35 terminations were a result of notices being sent to entities who had not previously filed termination notices with OGE. 1 new registration was also received in response to an enforcement letter. OGE received 499 activity reports. Activity reporting for calendar year 2021 has exceeded previous years by nearly 12%. And that concludes my report for the November 4th board meeting. Thank you, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Director Cooks. I also want to echo what Board Member Sobin said about the Ethics Week. The training was great. I was able to attend some of the sessions myself, and just want you all to know how much we appreciate all the work that went into that, and it made the office look really great. Particularly, congratulations to Asia for a great job in coordinating the week.
Thank you.
Okay, and
I had-
congratulations to Tyrell on his promotion. And also, I want to note that Board Member Felice Smith has joined us now. So are there any questions for Director Cooks before we move on?
I just had one, Director, to what do you attribute the 12% increase in the activity reporting, the activity reports?
I think it's due to the notices that we're sending out. We're sending out more notices to lobbyists prior to the reporting deadlines.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad they're complying.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah. Any other questions for either Director Cooks or Director Allen before we move on? Okay. Well, next on the agenda are public comments. The public was invited to submit comments in writing by 11 a.m. today, and no public comments were received by the deadline. So executive or closed session. The next agenda item is a closed session to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 575B4A, to discuss personnel matters, including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B2. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll offer the motion that we enter into executive session.
Is there a second? Is there a second to Mr. Nottingham's motion?
Second.
Great. It's been moved and second that the board enter into executive session. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, the time is now 12:34 and we are in executive session. So we should log out of this and into the executive session. Okay. The time is now 1:45 and we are resuming the public's meeting for today. Back on the record. And there are two matters to report out from the executive session. First is in the matter of 21-0003-P in Neil Albert. The board voted to authorize a formal investigation, the issuance of subpoenas, and to make public that matter. So in 21-0014-P, in Michael Redmond, the board also voted to authorize an investigation, the issuance of subpoenas, and to make the matter public. And with
And
that,
the notice
I'm
of
sorry.
violation.
And yes, we're issuing note. We voted to issue notice of violations in both of those matters. That it?
Just for the Redmond matter.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just for the Redmond matter, we voted to issue the notice of violations. Okay, not for the Albert matter. Okay. That being said, this concludes our meeting for November 4th, 2021. Our next meeting will also be held remotely by WebEx, and that will take place on December 2nd at 12 noon. Thank you all and have a great Thanksgiving. Won't see you before then. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.